Liz Crosby here with the Astral forecast for the week beginning April 5th, ending April 11th. And we have quite a few really potent energies to work with this week. As we know, we have the new moon at the end of the week on the 11th Pacific Standard Time. For the rest of the world, it will be on the 12th, but this is going to be the climax, the culmination of the week. And nobody ever talks about this, so I'm gonna start talking about it. This is why I'm actually doing these, is the moon creates a degree of relativity in terms of gravitational pull. So if you are keen and aware of that slight change as we move through the lunar phases, you can continue to adapt and evolve and refine your alignment in your postures. And so this is also never ever talked about in the astrology community. The physical body does matter. The physical body is earth element, which is the tamas guna, along with water. Earth and water are still thought form. So we're not just these roaming sense object gratification receptacles, right? The actual body carries within it all of the sins of humanity. It keeps a perfect memory of all of our indiscretions, all of our transgressions, and all of that being because of our lack of temple maintenance. So our lapse in our metaphysical duties to illuminate the nadis. And you can see all of human history as a subsequent consequent of that, right? This is the law of karma. Karma does exist. So often I think it is discredited because it doesn't act as swiftly as people would like. And sometimes the energy comes back in unique forms, diverse forms. So not always the exact same thing that you dished out, but the same energetic frequency. So this is all, again, playing itself out in accordance with, bring it right back home to the body, the earth element. Wherever the earth element lies, that predetermines your whole existence. So the new moon phase is a time to refine your alignment more so than any other part of the lunar cycle. And I like to joke too, this is why Shiva has a crescent moon on his forehead, because the crescent moon is really, it's probably the most intense gravitational pull. By the time you get to the new moon, you can still keep doing work. You might be really tired. And I started noticing this right away when I started teaching, because all of a sudden, you have a strict schedule. It's weekly classes, this time, fill up those classes. That's your job. Get 5 or more people in there and make sure that you're making the studio money, that sort of thing. And of course, when the new moon phase comes around, I get insane anxiety because I know that people are going to trust their bodies and want to rest. But nonetheless, I, of course, had to be there as the teacher, and so I am quite used to practicing during the new moon, even though Ashtangis don't practice during the new moon or the full moon phases. And I actually have grown to really, really love and appreciate it. But I always have to remind myself and also my yogis to not take the emotional energy personally, because it is going to rear its ugly head. It is going to come up with vivid clarity. And again, just always remind yourself the physical body is where the earth element lies. Where the earth element lies predetermines your existence, your holographic projected reality, and how you interface, how you interact with it. So as you're clearing, you're witnessing what you were attached to with vivid quality as you're purging it, as you're going through the alchemical process, burning up that stagnant energy and purging it through inner technology, third eye activation. Again, all the clairs, or as we call it in yoga, pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses, witnessing that stagnant energy through smell, through taste, through sound, always making that sound with the glottis, through sight, and also through feeling. So if you're engaging your bandhas, that's really important so that you can turn on third eye without having to utilize external stimulus. External stimulus is always nice if you have difficulty finding that connection, but do know that if you are doing central core engagement, connecting the bandhas, the energy locks, you can indeed engage and connect to third eye so that it is processing and you are able to visually witness your karmas as you're purging them throughout your practice. And this is why it is a process, and there's no such thing as mastery of the postures, because in a very physical sense, yeah, maybe you can get a really, really beautiful, deep posture, but can you close your eyes in the posture? Can you gaze at the space between the eyebrows? Can you stay in the posture long enough for the breath to circulate throughout the posture and redeem, right, retrieve information to then be processed by third eye? And, you know, of course, eyes closed, gazing at the space between the eyebrows and witnessing through all the different dimensions what that space really means in regards to your mind-body matrix and how you are manifesting your universe. So that is what I have to say about the moon energy as we move closer and closer to the new moon. I'll talk a little bit more about the new moon in Aries at the end, but I did want to talk about some of these specific transits that we're going to experience. And again, it is a reoccurring theme from last week, again, letting go of the toxic energy in our field, whether it be people, places, things, the environments that we choose to be in, the interactions we choose to engage in. That is really, really crucial, because I think a lot of us, especially if you're listening to this video, are empathic and we want to give to the other and help the other, bolster them up so that they can also achieve self-actualization and connect to source consciousness. But sometimes people will pretend like they're interested in doing this work so that they can take energy from you. And so we need to be really, really careful, cautious of that. And so we have a couple transits that are going to help us navigate as we learn how to create boundaries and how to hone in on whether or not someone is actually wanting to do the work or is just trying to use us. So April 6th, we have Venus in Aries, sextile Mars in Gemini. This is, again, huge because Venus is combust right now. It's getting burned up by the sun, and it has been for quite some time. I think it's just moved away a couple degrees, but Venus is getting very, very clear about what it wants, and it wants divine love. It wants to be able to shine the light of the sun in every part of the sphere of existence so that we can connect to the best lover, the true lover, which is Krishna. So, and Krishna being, right, symbolic for Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, root to crown connection, being able to conduct Kundalini energy without interruptions. And we are experiencing a little bit of a communication with Mars in Gemini. So it's giving us this, you know, we know what we need to do. If we want to see the divine feminine, we need to also be the divine masculine. So we need to build the strength necessary to be able to bend safely without causing any unnecessary impingement, especially in the discs, because as Yogananda says, it is all in the spine. And even the chakras are called cerebrospinal centers, meaning that they find their origin, or their nucleus, actually embedded in the spinal column. So crucial, right? And it is so commonplace in the yoga community. And I fell into this trap too. I was afraid to move into one-handed handstands, to be completely honest, because no one was doing it. Hardly anyone is moving into one-handed handstands. I see Dylan Warner starting to move into one-handed handstands occasionally, intermittently between teacher trainings and retreats, but he's a little bit busy, and so he keeps putting it off. But I don't see a lot of yogis working into one-handed handstands. It isn't commonplace, right? The two-handed handstand and the press, that's what gets utilized to bait and lure yogis into coming to teacher trainings and retreats. Because that's where the yoga demographic is at. So I was really, really nervous to move into one-handed handstands. I didn't want to face chastisement in the yoga community, so I put it off and instead continued to work on my backbending practice. That was a mistake on my part, but I'm very grateful for the metaphysical reaffirmations that then ensued. So we need to rise up, and if we want to go deeper into the backbending practice, we need to also create and facilitate the strength to support it. So if you're working towards your feet on the ground in your scorpion, you better start working on your one-handed handstands, because I can guarantee you can hold a straight line. in terms of there is muscle tension preventing you from creating a straight line between your humerus bone and the rest of your spinal column. So you better be able to hold that straight line, because that is indicative of the strength that's needed to continue to keep plowing further into your backbending practice safely. And there's, of course, all sorts of energetic windfall aftermath that can happen if you aren't doing this really keen balance between the masculine and the feminine. And so this is, of course, everybody in the astrology community is taking a way different stance on this sextile, because, of course, Mars and Venus are the lovers of the zodiac. So everyone's saying that now is a good time to flirt. But again, we're talking about the lovers within, kind of flirting. So April 9th, we have a square happening. Squares can be irregular. They can be a little bit uncomfortable because it's an awkward angle. And our culture has so many Kundalini cock blocks, so many distortions that dampen our Kundalini conductivity, that the squares actually eventually will feel more harmonious, but at this point in time, they feel really awkward. So April 9th, we have a square between Mars in Gemini and Neptune in Pisces. And that's going to, again, with Neptune, it's about illusion and delusion. So you can either kind of sink into that illusion and delusion, or you can dissolve it and get through to the truth of the matter. So hopefully you choose to do the latter, but the potential for brain stimulation is massive. And especially with Neptune, it is so transcendent that sometimes it can kind of zap you, and these transmissions that come through when we're just going about our day-to-day can kind of happen on a subconscious level, and it still takes up some of our energy even though we're subconsciously receiving the transmission. So you might find that your energy is a little bit zapped on April 9th. So if that happens, I would highly recommend taking a little nap. Naps are great. So often I think people want to skip to lucid dreaming in their dreams, in their dream state. And of course, always do that too. But I love naps because it makes it a little bit more of a controlled setting scenario wherein you can really, really focus in on your lucid dreaming. So if you have the opportunity to take a little nap, then focus in on the lucid dreams that come through, because especially with Neptune being involved in this aspect, it could be some interesting stuff. So kind of what's blocking our ascension, because it is the last sign of the zodiac and it is the last part of the alchemical process. It is the full send of the karmas and them again merging into oneness. So what's blocking our ascension? And of course, again, we have Mars in Gemini reminding us that we need to utilize our strength in an intelligent way. We need to be smart about creating strength so that we're not unintentionally blocking the feminine by repressing the feminine energy within us. Gemini, of course, is a very androgynous sign, and it's literally associated with Mercury and Hermes, therefore, so different pantheon, but same dude. And we even get the word hermaphrodite, which is a combination of Hermes and Aphrodite from Hermes. So that just goes to show you how much of an androgynous energy Gemini has. And we need to all embrace our androgyny instead of, again, repressing one side or the other. Maybe for men, it might be more so making sure that you don't create masculine strength where it blocks. And for women, also not blocking yourself off from embodying the masculine within yourself. So, maybe working on your inversion practice, or if you're too nervous about working on your inversion practice, building the strength that you need to feel comfortable to eventually start working on your inversion practice. So maybe that's long holds in plank, although again, watch out for creating strength in the wrong places. That blocks the straight line. You could also work on L shape, and if the wrist starts to talk to you, get on your forearms. So if you want to do weights, then of course feel free to do weights. Just make sure that you are still maintaining the straight line. So maybe walk your L shape all the way into a toes and nose, maybe a little hollow back. Make sure that you are still fostering that openness. So you really want to make sure that you don't cut off number 4. That is crucial. So that'll be interesting. And of course, if something comes up, something may come out, it might be scandalous. A lot of astrologers are saying that something may come up in the collective. And, you know, as these things arise, it's kind of fun to see how they are all a part of us. And even these bigger platform, mainstream events, they are reflections of what's happening internally or what's not happening. So, you know, see it for what it is, and don't let it disturb your peace. Keep on keeping on. And April 10th, we have another sextile between Mercury and Venus and Saturn in Aquarius. Actually, 2 sextiles happening at the same time. Also Venus and Jupiter. So Venus also in Aries and Jupiter in Aquarius. So there's a lot of going back and forth, a lot of communication between Aries and Aquarius, because those 2 signs are quite lit up right now. And remember also that fire and air are Rajas gunas, so these are the transformative elements. I think this week has a lot of potential for animosity or irritability, and in intense cases, anger. And this always just tends to happen when there's a lot of fire signs that are lit up. And I think we were all ready to move out of Pisces. There were a lot of planets in Pisces recently, and they all just moved over into Aries. So it's kind of nice to switch it up, but now we need to be aware of what happens when a fire sign is really lit up. So when a fire sign is really lit up, the tendency to be hot-headed comes up. So be aware of that and do your very best to transmute that energy into the battle of Kurukshetra, right? Choose your battles, and the only battle worth fighting is the battle of Kurukshetra, but we still do the things that we need to do to survive in modern day existence. So it's considered to be a very innovative day though. So let those energies speak to you. And again, the Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius was the big indicator that we are moving indeed into the age of Aquarius. And this is going to be a consistent theme too, because now that we've got them in Aquarius, they're going to be in Aquarius for some time now. And I believe in the future, they'll continue to meet in Aquarius on an ongoing basis as they make their rotation around. So this is, again, a telltale sign that we are indeed moving into the age of Aquarius, but we have our work cut out for us. So Saturn being the associated with Capricorn, hardest working sign of the zodiac, and Jupiter is associated with Zeus, and it's like, yeah, it's time to take ownership of our karmas so that we can send that lightning bolt through the central axis. We've got to do the work to get expanded so that we can clear the central eye, the central axis, the Sushumna channel. And both Venus and Mercury in Aries, that's a lot of Aries energy. And we are going to have 4 in Aries come the end of the week. So watch out for that hot-headedness, but really utilize all of this Aries energy, because, I mean, we've been here before, but it's been millennia. So it feels completely fresh. It feels completely new. It feels foreign. It feels like we're moving into unknown territory. So let yourself kind of be the fool, if you will, right? The fool card in tarot. And just go out and let yourself be whatever you're meant to be without, and it's kind of fun too, because there's literally nothing that we could copy right now, right? Like, we just kind of have to like go for it. So what is human existence going to look like when we're actually living in alignment with the universal laws, not negating the physical body and actually running energy equally out all of the extremities, right? I think we're going to see a lot more people upside down on a regular basis. So you way showers, how are you going to make it sexy, right? Because I feel like Venus is very sexy, and also just intelligent, so people don't think that you're too crazy, to get upside down on a regular basis. And again, I think that we're going to have to baby the wrists a little bit. So get yourself the equipment that you need, whether that be blocks or canes or even just a flat piece of wood, so that you have more energy conductivity to run through your hands. And Taping up the wrists, I think, is going to be popular too. I've also seen a lot of people, just in terms of like fashion, I've seen a lot of people wear kind of like those, they're like the leg warmers, but for your arms. And I see a lot of basketball players wear those, but I've seen a lot of hand balancers wear those too. And it just looks kind of cool. It's kind of like, yeah, we're giving you guys more attention, quite literally, as we run more energy through you. I personally am not a big fan of rings. I used to be a big fan of rings. It's one of those things that, again, Venus is associated with beauty. But I stopped wearing rings, and also bracelets and necklaces, all jewelry, really, just about, even earrings, because I used to wear like the big hoop earrings, and when you get upside down, it just gets all over the place. So, but yeah, there's going to be definitely some innovation happening, and I'm excited about it. But April 10th is going to be a fun day for that. And April 11th is the new moon. So yeah, we have the moon in Aries Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So when we have the moon in Aries, we're going to have a little stellium in Aries. We have Chiron in Aries, we have the Sun in Aries, we have Venus in Aries, we have Mercury in Aries, we also have Eris in Aries. Wow, that's a lot of Aries. So I think this is the time to reinvent ourselves and to really stand up for our beliefs. And again, this is kind of something that we can all agree upon in terms of belief systems, is physics, is gravity. And so we know we need to embody the flower of life, sacred geometry. How can we be steadfast in our determination to do exactly that? And it's gonna be heavy, definitely. Thankfully, I don't think it's a super new moon. That super full moon in Libra was wild. But we do have a square happening between, again, squares can be awkward, right? And challenging for us because we haven't been doing the work. It's not our fault. We've inherited these distortions, all of this karmic debris accumulated over time. So the square is happening between Venus and Capricorn, Pluto. Yeah. Oh boy. Oh boy. So Pluto is kind of like our oversoul. It sees everything. It's so far out there. And again, Venus has been going through it. Mad props to any of you that are in relationships right now. Because again, Venus is kind of the feminine aspect of self, but also how we relate to the other, and especially in relationship dynamics. So yeah, the square with Pluto and Capricorn is going to basically let us know, again, this is consistent themes that are going to be perpetuated throughout the ascension process. And we are directly conversing. We are directly involved in a dialogue with the planets. And of course, it's always actually a monologue because we are the planets. But this is us letting us know we really, really want this. Collectively, as a species, we really, really want this. We want to evolve. We want to become the new human so that we can manifest the new earth. And we can shed away these layers of fear and distortion and greed and all of the illusions of separateness that have kept us tied down, bogged down by unnecessary pain and suffering for literally millennia. And of course, Pluto is associated with Scorpio, but it's in Capricorn right now, and it's finishing up its round. It's almost through, and the third decan is of course the evolved part of that sign. So it's really letting us know, we know that we need to take charge with the rearrangement of the tamas gunas. We know that we need to utilize the mental faculties to rearrange the earth element so that we can start to move towards divine love embodiment. And it's kind of harsh. This is something that's been coming through. And I've had my own challenges with integrating it, but we've never known divine love, not in this lifetime, because we couldn't have. We are not holding that space. We cannot possibly know what divine love feels like. At this point, if we were to experience divine love, we may not be able to stay in our bodies because the energy would be so intense. So we need to work towards like a light bulb being able to conduct a tremendous amount of energy. We need to be able to work towards that bandwidth to be able to conduct that much energy. And also what's reflecting back at us on this day is all of the unnecessary pain and suffering that has ensued because of not holding that space, because we have not taken charge in the past of our metaphysical duties to sift and sort through the karmas, to share life force energy with our whole sphere of existence by negating the earth element, by negating the human body and the role that it plays in the alchemical process. And I'll be completely honest, I was a lot disturbed when I first was able to start accessing the Akashic. I think, of course, you have a lot of fun with it because you realize you can go up and come back as anyone. And so there were a lot of people that I admired a tremendous amount, people I know, and also people that I'd just been absorbed with throughout human history. And of course, I wanted to go up and interact with their highest self first. And then you kind of start to just consistently meander through all the various transmissions, because we all transmit to Akashic. It's the ether. The ether carries all of our story, all of the possible worlds that could possibly unravel, unfold. And so, of course, you start to connect with the ascended masters, and then eventually you start to move back into ancient civilization. And we see a lot of the plant-based philosophers that are really intrigued by ancient civilization. Of course, I'm talking about Terence McKenna, Graham Hancock, Daniel Pinchbeck. This is really potent information, but to actually be able to go back and feel into the living life forms as they're experiencing living in that time-space continuum, it's such a beautiful energy that you just want to stay for as long as possible. And of course, time and space don't really matter in Akashic, right? You can go and hang out and then come back whenever you like and come right back to this present moment. And the first thing that really was daunting to me upon coming back into my body in this time-space continuum was how short my arms were. I'll be completely honest. I was just extremely disconcerted by it. We've got to work it out for us. We are literally, all of us, by choosing to incarnate here, we're all taking one for the team. And we all want it so bad that, the proof is around you. Look at all of these people that have chosen to incarnate here with you. I get flashbacks sometimes. I try to honor people's privacy, and I don't put it out there because I don't want people to come at me to do psychic readings and to do past life regression work for them. I want them to do that for themselves, because of course you need to actually survey your field. You need to look at your past life history to clear it. You can't expect someone else to do that for you and then have 100% cleared it. That's just not possible. You have to actually look at it. So I would much rather teach people how to do a straight up and down handstand and a scorpion handstand, so that they can create and refine the energetic highway necessary to actually see for themselves without the use of external stimulants. Those are also beneficial too. But I get little snippets sometimes of the people that surround me, and I have to say I am consistently impressed. I am always just taken aback by some of the past lives that some of the people that I interact with Especially now that I'm getting really serious about doing the work and I'm not getting shy about the one-handed handstands. I'm just like, look guys, this is what I'm doing. I'm going to fill out space. I'm going to be the flower of life. And so I need to let you know where I'm headed, because if I can sense that you're going to sabotage me, then I need to give you space immediately, because it takes so much work to be able to do one-handed handstands. I'm telling you, I don't have the extra energy to do the trivial dramas anymore like I used to. So, but nonetheless, as I do the one-handed handstand work and dive deeper into the back bends, of course, enhancing both the masculine and feminine aspects of self, then I'm able to see with more vivid clarity some of the past lives of not just my own past lives, but the people that surround me. And again, I'm in complete adoration. You guys we're all here to do this work. We really are. So I commend you for your past life experiences and how much of a badass you guys all were. So, and I'm really excited to do the work here in this day and age, in this time-space continuum. And I really, truly do believe, because Aries, when it really comes down to it, is such a party animal, and that's where they thrive. They love to get down on the dance floor. So I really think that we can shift it to such a great extent that we can go from the doom and gloom of quarantine and lockdown to great party. Great purge is the great party. So hopefully you are able to navigate the energy this week, but again, it's going to be intense, no doubt about it. So hang in there and stay focused on transmuting, not just staying fake positive. Actually, when stuff comes up, transmute it and stay focused on your own battle of Kurukshetra so that you can transmute all of that angsty energy that comes with Aries into the battle of Kurukshetra. And I think we'll come out, this week is going to be powerful. We'll definitely come out in a higher vibrational frequency collectively in the end. So enjoy your week and enjoy the new moon energy, and give yourself permission to let go of what's no longer serving, because something new is going to come in, something new is going to fill that space. And I know that I personally, with all planets direct, was kind of anticipating to get more stuff done, but we're still getting stuff done as we're clearing the emotional body, as we're clearing our friend group and our interactions. We're honing in on who's actually with us to do this work, because it's not going to be easy. And even though there's a lot of us, we're spread out. And so each of us in our own community might be kind of considered like Noah building his ark, and we might get a little bit of backlash from people. And they can criticize you from afar, and it doesn't have to affect you. So, and we know what we need to do. So staying resolute in our task here, in our dharma, in our willingness to actually do the inner work and transmute the shadow aspects of self. So I hope you have a lovely week. Again, take those naps if you need them, meditate, and drink lots of water, and use the gravitational pull to refine that alignment. It does have a huge effect on everything, because the physical body is the intermediary of every dimension of our existence. But again, if the karmas get to be too much, feel free to back off so that you can process the karmas, because obviously if we just keep going in our physical practice without processing the karmas, then the limiting thought forms will go back into their spin cycles, and the work will recreate itself, right? Usually through muscle tension that needs to be properly processed. So of course, we still have some energy in Pisces, so utilize that energy in Pisces to process the emotional body. And the moon will slip through Pisces for a little bit there too before it moves into Aries. So yeah, utilize that Piscean energy to process those karmas. Swim in the waters of the mystic. Surf the tube rides. All right, we'll talk to you soon. Have a lovely week. Namaste.